Assalamualaikum and hi, I am Rabiatul Fatanah binti M.NOOR HASHIM, and I will be presenting about historical plane crash on the behalf of my other team members, which is FARAHANA binti AHMAD ETTIHAD and NURAFINA HANANI binti HASANI. The dataset that we collected is called Historical Plane Crash Data since 1918, which were obtained from the Kaggle website. From this research, we come up with three objectives, which is to identify the type of flight that crashed from 1918 to 2022. Second objective is to investigate the cause of plane crash by region and flight phase. And the third is to analyze the pattern of survivors and fatalities of plane crashes throughout the years. Along our study, we designed 8 suitable charts based on the dataset. For the first chart, the bar chart explains the total number of flight types that crash by every 15 years. There are 6 types of flight, which are delivery, entertainment, government, personal, researcher, and scheduled flight. Based on the chart, for the flight type, the government category has the highest number of crash in every 15 years. It also can be seen that the researcher category has the lowest number of crash in every 15 years. In between 1933 to 1947, the government category has the highest number of crash compared to other years, which is 4,176, because there are many activities conducted by the government during those years, such as military, bombing, firefighting, training, and more. With all of these dangerous activities, many problems may occur, and this caused the pilot had less time to react to problems. As a conclusion, until 2022, the government category still has the highest number of flight crash. Therefore, the company involved need to be aware of this problem to ensure the number of flight crash from this category will decrease. The second chart shows the crash cause depends on the type of flight. The crash causes are divided into 4 categories, which are human factor, technical failure, weather, and terrorism act, hijacking, and sabotage. Based on the chart, it can be seen that human factor has the highest total number of flight crash, followed by the technical failure, which is the second highest. Next, the weather is the third, and for the lowest number of flight crash is terrorism act, hijacking, and sabotage. Human factors basically studies the interaction between the person or persons operating a machine and the machine itself. The relationship between person and machine is more complex in aviation than in most other fields. This is why human factor gives the highest number of flight crash. As technical failure is the second highest number of flight crash, this category includes engine or power loss issues, landing gear functionality, loss of critical flight controls, and non-engine system or component failure. To be concluded, the captain, first officer, crew members, and control tower must work together to ensure the safety of the flight and its passengers. Next, the tree map shows the crash causes for all types of aircraft category accidents based on flight phases from the year 1918 to 2022. The flight phases that presents in the chart are landing, flight, and takeoff. Based on the tree map above, it can be seen that there is a significant nominal comparison can be made. The size and positions of the rectangles as well as the coloring indicate that landing have the highest number of accidents for human factor, while flight at the second place and takeoff have the lowest. Landing has the topmost number of accidents for human factor with the number of 4,700 accidents. As for weather and terrorists, it approximately has the same number of victims, which are 800 and 1,000 respectively on flight. Landing on weather causes have the total number of accidents about 400 cases, followed by terrorists with 100 accidents involved in all types of aircraft category accidents. Technical failure has the number of accidents of aircraft accidents, which are 2,300 on flight, 1,900 on landing, and 1,700 on takeoff. In conclusion, human factor has most number of accidents involved in aircraft throughout the year 1918 to 2022. The diagram shows the number of crash causes for each region, which are America, Europe, Asia, Africa, and Oceania at 1918 to 2022. From the chart, it can be seen that by far the greatest number of causes involved in aviation accidents is America, nearly 8,000 victims, which Oceania have the lowest number of causes. With 8,000 casualties, America has the highest number of causes. This might occur as a result of an over-reliance on automation concerns. Europe and Asia had about the same number of casualties, 4,200 and 3,900 respectively. Africa and Oceania have the lowest number of causes, 1,500, followed by Oceania, which has 1,000 victims involved in all sorts of aviation accidents. As a conclusion, majority of the causes are from America. This is because human factor on America has a major causes. Same goes with the minor level of aircraft damage. Minor level has the highest number of uninjured because when the aircraft damage only reach minor level, the possibility for the aircraft to have uninjured victim is high. Next is the fifth chart. Over the years, the record of survival status has been collected. If the status says yes, this means there is one or more people, which includes crew, passenger, and under other category includes people outside the plane or animals that survived the crash. Meanwhile, if the status is no, it means not a single person or even animal that survived the crash. The chart shows the frequency of the status, whether it is yes or no throughout the years from 1918 to 2022. The status of yes is always higher than no. The pattern for yes is upward and downward, while for no it is up, down, up, and ends with a downward pattern. The highest frequency of yes is from 1933 to 1947. The same goes for the status of no, while the lowest value of the frequency is from 1918 to 1932 for both status. In conclusion, the survival status throughout the year can be considered consistently in the safe zone because the line of no status is below the line of yes. This means that the number of survivors is greater than the number of non-survived, assuming the pattern is depending on the number of crash that happen from time to time. The most significant value is in the range of years from 1948 to 1962 because there is a big gap between the line between yes and no. Next, the pattern for the frequency of the survivors can be determined by looking at its relationship with the location of the crash happened. The chart indicates the relationship between survivors and crash sites in the recorded data. The crash sites include airports, valleys, lakes, mountain cities, and deserts. Roughly, we can say that if the crash happens in a city, the chance of survivors will be the lowest to occur. But if the plane crash at the airport, the chance for the survivors to occur is high. From the chart, the airport has the highest value, followed by a plain valley. The second highest, next to it, a lake, sea, ocean, or river is the third highest number of survivors. Mountains are the fourth, followed by cities, and the lowest value in the category is deserts. The airport has the highest frequency of survivors among others at a value nearly reaching 10k, while the other crash sites do not even reach 5k. The plain valley is at 3k, the lake, sea, ocean, or river is at 1.9k, and the mountains are at 0.7k. Lastly, for the least value of survivors, which are in the city and desert, the value is both at 0.1k. Hence, many survivors occur at the airport since the plane is at a low altitude. The least number of survivors occur are at the cities and desert, since the cities have so many buildings and facilities that can cause the planes to be critically damaged, while for desert, assuming that there were fewer crashes occurring in the desert, hence there are no records of any status. Next, the fatalities bring the meaning of an occurrence of death by accidents in war or disease. Besides the survival status, the records of fatalities were taken into account. The fatalities include crew, passengers, and others. The other category in this chart indicates the animal that were escorted in the plane or other people that is outside the plane. These categories are related to the number of total fatalities and years. The total fatalities show a pattern of upward and downward. The same goes with the lines of crew and passengers, while the line of other consistently has the lowest value. Value for total fatalities is from the year of 1963 to 1977, while the lowest value is on the year of 1918 to 1932. The lowest number of fatalities occurs is at the early years, which is from 1918 to 1932. It makes sense since these years there are not many available planes, so there will be fewer plane crash occur. While the highest number of fatalities happened was from 1963 to 1977. These years clearly were the time when most people were actively using a plane, but safety is still at risk. It is the years when most engineers didn't take the safety of the passengers more seriously. Eventually, from 1978 to 2022, the number of fatalities is decreasing, which meant that the plane's engineers started to prioritize the safety of everyone involved in the plane. Last but not least, overall fatalities involved in this historical data of plane crash from 1918 until early 2022 are shown in the chart. Commonly, the number of passengers in one flight is plenty more than the number of crew involved. There is no doubt the fatalities occur more to the number of passengers. The dark purple shade in the chart indicates crew, while the maroon shade indicates passengers and the blue shade is other. Clearly, the maroon shade is bigger than the other two and the smallest shade is blue. Roughly, the dark purple shade is moderate in size in the pie chart. Starting from the biggest shade, maroon passenger contains a value of 105k fatalities in total, which holds 66.17% of the pie. Next, the moderate size is crew, which contains a value of 51k fatalities and holds 31.80% of the pie. Lastly, the blue shade, the smallest shade in the pie, indicates a value of 3k fatalities with 1.97% of the pie. These three attributes sum to the total fatalities of 159k. Thus, the safety of the people, especially the passenger, should be prioritized by all audience. One's life is valuable to their relative. To minimize the number of fatalities, the government should ensure the safety of the passenger. Thus, in conclusion, based on the findings, the target user like aircraft engineering can utilize this information to determine the source of each aircraft problem and enhance its system. As a result, the government should collect data to see pattern of aircraft and injuries in order to reduce the number of fatalities for the future. That's all from me and my group members. Thank you.